Jeff from Chillin N Grillin with Jeff here. It is definitely chillin' season for sure. I am downtown London right now and it is cold out. Time to wrap up the barbecues, I think. Some of the hardcore barbecuers will still be out. For me, I'm gonna head into London, tour around and check out some of the amazing restaurants we have and showcase them right here on Chillin N Grillin with Jeff. You know, sometimes you just want a hot dog. I'm downtown London today. Thankfully, I can get more than just a hot dog. I can get a spicy cocktail and a fantastic hot dog right here at Furter's. Let's head inside. Dave, it's chilly out there, man. Thanks for inviting me in.
Hey, it's a pleasure to have you over here, Jeff.
I was saying, sometimes you just want a hot dog. Unfortunately, I can't do that anywhere in London. I can't even come in here and just get a hot dog.
No, there's no such thing as just a hot dog here at Frankenfurter's, but you're a little cold, right?
It's pretty chilly out
there.
So
why don't we show you one of our specialties here in house and get you something spicy?
Is somehow involved with hot dogs?
Oh, it definitely has hot dogs.
All right, should I head up to the bar?
Yeah, right at the bar here.
All right,
right Brandon for you.
Well, I hear you make a pretty decent Caesar.
I tend to, yeah.
I'm going to guess in a place like this, it's not a regular Caesar.
Definitely not your traditional. Before we get started, what's your spice level?
Well, I'd have to say spice is a food group in my world, so...
Jeez. Wouldn't you know we've got a hot sauce company out of our basement. He actually makes it in-house. I'm going to go with pickles and peppers, because I think nothing sets off a Caesar quite like the pickles and peppers. Traditional Caesar base, but then we're going to put our own twist on it. So yeah, your normal vodka, and then just your regular Caesar base. So your pickle juice, your lemon juice, your Worcestershire.
So right? I imagine once this part comes together, that's where you're going to take it up a notch.
Exactly. Just straight up Clamato. And I've got the chef in the back. She's preparing some accoutrement to really kick it up to the next level. So what we've got here is a pogo made in-house. Absolutely.
Oh, just some little garnish for this.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Nothing too major.
Nothing too ridiculous. We've got a pickle spear, also made in-house. Pierogi.
A pierogi.
A pierogi, and yet another skewer of bacon cheese curds.
That is awesome.
How's that suit your fancy?
It works for me. I'm going to give it a taste, and I'm going to go to sit over there and join Dave and talk a little more about the restaurant.
Wonderful.
Cheers, man. Appreciate it.
Enjoy.
Thanks. Is this an indication of what the rest of this conversation is going to look like here? This was a Caesar.
Yeah, I'd say this is kind of what you're going to be expecting when you come here.
So, like I said, I can't just get a hot dog.
No.
So I'm checking out the menu while I'm sitting up there, taking a look around, and this is intriguing. I mean, there's some like screw the diet hot dog.
That's right.
So what's the background to the whole restaurant?
When it came down to it, we had the pandemic hit, and I really wanted a hot dog, and it was my comfort food. And really, I went all around town, couldn't find a good one. I want something that is a meal, because a hot dog to me is more than just a hot dog. It's my childhood. It's what I grew up on. It's everything I've envisioned in food.
Right.
It's a vessel for delivering something more than what it is. With a name like ours, like Frankenfurter's, it comes in. You got so many different variations of it. Like the Frankfurter is a German hot dog.
Right.
Dr. Frankenfurter, like we have on our.
Yeah, I noticed some of the artwork.
Right.
There must be a story behind the artwork.
Actually, yeah. So when I was creating the restaurant, my mother's actually an artist out in Bayfield.
Oh, okay.
She loves Rocky Horror Picture Show. Obviously, she's the one who introduced it to me, and she designed and painted that entire painting for me.
It's incredible. It's perfect for the restaurant.
She spent so much time on it that it came out perfect.
I'm looking at this menu. I'm getting hungry. Is there any way we can peek in the kitchen and see what the chef's got on the grill?
Absolutely. We'll bring you out to the back and see what Hulk can kind of do with you there. See how you can do with our hot dogs.
All right. Cheers, man.
Cheers.
What do you say we make some hot dogs?
Sounds great.
Screw the diet.
It's one of my
favorites. Is that a hot dog one?
Yeah,
okay.
It's loaded. It's really savory.
So you're going to make this for us?
Actually, you are.
Oh, you're going to put me to
I'm
work?
going to guide you through it. Yeah, no one eats for free, right? You know?
All right, that's a good point. It's a good point. Okay, so
first thing you're going to do is grab your hot dog.
Wow, these are some serious hot dogs.
We're going to put it right on the flat top with some oil.
Okay.
And then just roll it around, so it gets covered, and then we're going to let that cook. That takes about 5 to 6 minutes to cook it all the way through, get a nice sear on it.
All right.
We'll make the crispy onions that go on the hot dog. We'll show you the procedure and the spices.
Okay, let's do it. What are we starting off with?
Just your flour base.
Okay.
Paprika.
Okay.
Then you have your kosher salt and pepper. Then you're gonna have an onion powder and a garlic powder.
Okay, and the onions are soaking in something over here.
And they're soaking in a beer and soda brine. And then we're gonna bring the bowl over to the fryer.
Okay.
Give them a little shake and then slowly drop them in. There you go. And you drop however many you think you want on your hot dog, because
Well, how many do you normally put on?
a good handful.
Okay, so all this stuff's gonna cook. We got our hot dog sizzling away here.
Yeah, and while we got a few minutes, we can also prepare a side dish.
Okay.
And that's the way we do it anyway. So when we're here, we want to get one thing rolling, move into the next. So
All
everybody
right.
gets their food
Let's
hot
do it. What
and
are we
fresh.
gonna make?
Pierogies. So you're going to want to take 6 of these, and we
Okay.
actually deep fry them, believe it or not.
Okay.
And we use sunflower oil, so it stays crisper. And then while you're there, you're going to want to pull your onions up. They do not take long at all. You're going to need bacon for the pierogi stream. You're also going to need bacon for the screw the diet.
Can't have too much bacon.
No. So you're going to want to grab a generous handful out of there. Oh no, you're going to need a little more than
A
that.
little more than that on the grill.
Right on the grill.
All right.
And
What
I
about
add
that
a little splash of oil just to crisp them up while they're on there.
So these look like they're done.
Yeah,
Ready to go? Put them in here.
sure thing.
Okay.
Just some seasoning salt on those bad boys. And this is just the appetizer size. We
Okay.
do a double portion of this. And
Okay.
you're going to want to take those out,
Put
layer
'em
them
on
on there nice. And
Okay.
then you're going to smother them with cheddar.
Smother them with cheddar.
Yeah.
All right. How's that?
Oh, a lot more. Portion control is not a thing here. When you don't see the pierogies,
Okay. How's that?
great.
That's perfect. Okay.
All right, and then we're going to come over to your bacon. I'd say 2/3 of that bacon is going on there.
Right on top. Looks good.
And
Okay.
then you're going to want to get that in the oven.
All right.
Well, those are going. You can start your hot dog. Take your bun out. So then you're going to put your hot dog in it. And then you're going to put some cheese on there.
Cheddar cheese.
Yep.
Let me guess. That's not enough.
Nowhere near enough. When you can't see that hot dog, you're
Oh,
good to
okay.
go.
That's the portion control when you can't see it.
And then it can go in the oven.
All right. Is that one ready to pull out?
It should be. All right.
Slide right on here.
It should slide right on there.
And the sour cream.
Yeah.
I have
and
to do
then
some
just
magic pattern.
drizzle it all the way across. And then some chives.
Slide those up here.
We sure do.
Order up.
You're going to want to sauce your pulled pork. So
All
you're
right.
going to take some of our pulled pork.
Is that enough? Some or
I-
more?
A little more might do.
More. All right.
Here you're going to take the Memphis barbecue. And then you're going to smother it. There we go. And then you're going to want to toss that around.
Okay.
Now while that rests there for a sec, you can pull your hot dog out. So you take your plate over to the flat top, and the first thing you're going to throw on there is your pulled pork. Get it all on there.
Because in any normal world, this would already be enough. But we're going to put the bacon on now?
Yeah,
Of course.
the bigger the better.
Absolutely.
Then you're going to come over here and grab your mayo.
Zigzag pattern?
Yeah. Now you remember those crispy onions you made?
Yes.
Start of this. And you want to layer them all over that bad boy.
Because sure, the pulled pork, the bacon, the cheese, that 7 pounds of cheese is not enough. Let's pile it up with crispy onions, right?
Yeah.
And we must be done.
Well, I like to put a dash of parsley on top for color,
Okay.
which is right there.
All right. We're ready
Now
to go?
tell me that's not a hot dog.
Okay. That's not a hot dog.
Oh, it's a hot dog. If you're eating hot dogs any other way, like, you're
This
doing
is
it
a
wrong.
Screw the diet hot dog.
Yeah.
All right, perfect. So one of the other things I noticed on there, being a good Canadian person that I am, is you got a Canadian hot dog.
We do.
So we toss the hot dog on.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's going to be a lot more to happen to that.
Oh, yeah.
But while that's cooking, what else do you want to whip up?
We could do some bruschetta toast.
Bruschetta toast. Let's do
Yeah.
it. Okay.
So you're going to want to grab your bun,
Okay.
slice it on a diagonal right down the middle, tear them apart 4 separate pieces, and then we're going to bring them over, crisp them up with some oil on the flat top. Doing them on the flat top's a nice way to crisp them up,
Mhm.
but still keep that soft, fresh center.
Right, as opposed to throwing it in a toaster or the
Yeah,
oven.
or the oven. I find it dries it out a bit, so you can probably pull those off.
All right. There's our hot dog bun bruschetta.
Yeah.
This is our bruschetta topping.
It sure is, but first you're going to want to hit it.
Look at
With
me
a
getting ahead
little
of myself here,
Bit
right?
of aioli. Give it a shake because it is in-house,
Okay.
so it has a little oil base to it.
All right.
And then the base on there is gonna have a
a
little
little bit
bit
on
of
each
it.
one?
Yeah, just a little bit. And there we go. And then
right.
you're gonna hit it with the bruschetta.
Okay. All right. Big enough portion.
It is. And then you're
Okay.
gonna smother it in some feta. Each one can have its own scoop. Top it with a little bit of red onion. And then hit it with that balsamic glaze. Drizzle it all the way across. And then a pinch of parsley. And then you know where that goes.
Up in the window.
Sure does.
All right. So we're going back to our Canadian hot dog.
Yepers.
All right.
So we got some pea meal down here for you. You're gonna want to take 2 slices out. Before you throw them
Okay.
on, you're gonna slice them.
Right on the grill.
Yep.
The hot dog
Handful
go.
of bacon crumble on if you want it to crisp up a little bit.
Or a little
A
more.
little more.
A little more.
A little more.
Always a little more.
Always a little more.
Use
you
the
know,
term
you can eat
portion
whatever you want.
control,
Just,
but-
don't eat as much buns, and then you're fine. It's like a keto diet almost,
Sure.
High fat, high proteins, take away from the carbs, you're fine.
Sure. Let's call it a diet. I let my wife know I'm on a diet and I have to come and eat at
Yeah.
Frank Furter's every day.
We're good to go.
Hot dog first.
Yep. Smother that with some cheese curds. There we go. And then you're going to want to get that in the oven.
Right onto the plate.
Right onto the plate. Look at that ooey gooiness.
And now the pea meal bacon.
Yep.
And then the regular bacon.
Yep.
Portion controls be damned.
Yeah, pretty much. Leave no soldier behind. Get all that bacon.
This was our barbecue sauce again.
Yeah. And there you go.
There we go. And this is our
Canadian.
Canadian hot dog.
What's more Canadian than cheese curds smothered in 2 kinds of bacon?
Bacon, bacon, and bacon.
Can't go
It's
wrong.
all good. Well, Dave, I think I drove your chef to distraction back there, but I did learn something. Portion controls are not a real thing here,
No.
are they? No.
Portion controls are just a figment of other people's imagination.
Yeah. Well, listen, thanks very much for inviting us by today. Like I said, I just wanted a hot dog, and I failed miserably at just getting a hot dog. But I'm glad I stumbled in here because this just looks incredible. So I'm gonna dig in, and then I'm gonna get out of your hair.
All right, you enjoy it, and we're glad that you stopped by.
You can actually eat it. So I get lots of questions. What's the difference between dry aged, not dry aged, tomahawks, ribeyes, all that sort of thing? Let's go see Chris in Covent Garden Market at Chris's Country Cuts and ask him those questions. A good old-fashioned butcher shop.
It is. It is.
So my first question, Chris, why would somebody shop at a butcher shop? I can go anywhere to get meat. Is there really a difference between a butcher shop and buying your meat elsewhere?
Absolutely. As our mural over there says, taste the difference a butcher can make. There's a market for everything. There are people who perhaps can't afford to shop at a butcher shop, even though it's not actually any more expensive.
Well, that was going to be one of my questions. Will we pay a lot more to come?
A little bit.
Okay.
To be upfront about it, yeah, we are a little bit more expensive. The things that are at regular price, we are on average about 10% higher.
Okay.
Now, I figure if you factor in what I know and can do versus what the 17-year-old at the chain store can do, it's worth 10%.
Maybe give us a primer course. Let's start with some steaks. So what are the most popular cuts of steaks and kind of where do they come from?
At the moment, the most popular steaks are ribeye, strip loin, beef tenderloin. There are all kinds of other cuts. Some of them almost as tender, some of them not. So, but then that comes down to cooking method and whatnot. You can do skirt steak, bavette steak, flank steak.
Is that another quality of coming to a butcher versus somebody who's not a butcher? Because we can show up, or non-butcher shop, we'll say. We can ask you cooking tips. You'll know.
Oh yeah.
This
yeah.
meat will cook too fast. This meat will cook too slow. This will be tough. This will be non-tough.
The world of meat cutting has evolved huge. We're not just cutting meat. We know what pieces to use for what kind of recipes. People come in and they say, well, I want to do a raclette tonight. And I'll go, okay, you need this or this or this. These are your options.
Right.
This one's good enough. This one's better. This one's the best. You decide what your budget is. We slice it nice and thin for a raclette in particular. And you go home and have your dinner and sing my praises later.
Well, listen, what do you say we sharpen up some knives and
Oh, that's a great idea.
cut up some beef?
Absolutely.
So what do we have hanging
So
here?
up here, these are all prime ribs for Christmas. That is a short loin, which is where all your T-bones come from.
Okay.
And that's been hanging for 3 months now. So you can see how it's shrinking,
Right.
right? Like that used to be out here,
Okay.
and now it's shrunk in.
All right.
And it comes to a point where that doesn't happen anymore, which is where it's at now. So it'll just dry. This is one of these,
Okay.
and this is the sirloin steaks at the other end of it. So we'll grab a prime rib here, and if we can get one of these out of there.
Physical job too.
Yes, it is.
So Chris, we had a great tour of the cooler there, and again, I think it's important. You're talking about some of this meat's been hanging there for quite some time, but it's the moisture that you're controlling, it's the temperature you're controlling. It's not just a chunk of beef sitting somewhere aging, getting.
No, it's not.
No.
It's not just that.
There's-
No,
there's a
little more
process.
science to it than that.
Exactly.
And I'm a firm believer in the science.
As we all are. So what do we have here? What's the cut? What are we going to do? What am I looking at? Walk me
So
through this.
this is a whole prime rib. So
Okay.
a whole rib. So out of this, if we just boned it out, we would get ribeyes. We can do a prime rib roast. We can do tomahawks off the big end, and we can do a multitude of all of those things. So I think what we'll do today is we'll take 2 bones off this end
Okay.
and do tomahawks.
All right.
And I have an order for boneless braising ribs, so I'll get those out of that.
Perfect.
And then the rest of it, we'll take the braising ribs off. We'll have braising ribs for the counter for tomorrow, and we'll get a prime rib roast. This little piece is part of the skirt steak, which is on the inside of the bones.
Okay.
Okay, and it continues up.
All right.
And there's an inside and an outside skirt steak. We just peel that off. I leave that for my accomplice over there to do later. Okay, so we're gonna take this over to the saw, cut 2 bones off this end. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna peel a thin layer off because that's the joy of it when it goes dark. So there's what I'm talking about. Nice and dark.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Nice
you
and
can
red.
really see the difference. Yeah.
Okay, so you can see the marbling in it.
Beautiful.
This is the ribeye,
Okay.
right? The whole thing is a rib steak.
Okay.
So we're gonna cut 2 tomahawks, so 2 bones, and then we'll clean the braising rib off, the short ribs off of the bones, and have French cut, and that'll be a tomahawk. We're also gonna take the chine bone off the back. You just have to line it up. Okay, and then we're just gonna go between the bones. I'll do the first one. You can do the second one,
Oh,
if you want to get dirty.
All right.
That's the beginnings of a tomahawk. Okay, I'll line it up for you.
Okay.
Okay, now, hand here, hand here. Just slide it forward. Perfect. We clean them, because this is not sawdust, but bone dust. Then you look at it and you go, all right, well, first of all, we got bone on the back. So we take out the rest of the chine bone, take out the back strap, and then we look at this and we go, okay, where do we want to cut this? So usually we take this piece of eye and we go at the end of it.
Okay.
Cut right down to the bone, turn your knife, and slide it down the bone. Boneless braising rib.
Beautiful.
Pull the cap off. There's basically your tomahawk. All right, then we clean up the bone.
And there's something to be said about leaving, you know, whether it's chicken or beef, the bone in adds flavor. Is there some truth to
The
that?
bone, a little bit, yes.
Yeah.
The bone, it does add flavor, not a ton, because it's not a marrow bone. So these bones will add some flavor.
It's a beautiful
So
thing.
we're just gonna grab a string here, little notch for a string to sit in. Come on. There you go, 1 tomahawk.
There you go. Look at that.
So, you want to do this
All
one?
right, sure. Chine bone here. So
Yeah,
I'm
you can
coming
feel
in
it,
from
so you're just going to go down the side of it.
coming up from here.
Slide it. It's a knife, not a saw. Boy, I didn't have to work that hard at it.
Wow. What did you have? 42 years
Just
experience?
something like that,
We
yeah.
had 8 minutes, and then we want to take this out.
Yep, just peel that out.
And
And then we're going to decide where we're going to cut this.
this was.
So
this
here's
was
your
different.
eye. Here's
Oh,
your
right
eye
here?
down here.
Okay.
Right? So you're going to go right there, start at the top, right above it, cut straight down. Keep your fingers out of the way.
And then
Turn
follow
it.
the bone out here.
I'll get out of the shot here.
Yeah.
I don't want to see a
Did-
nasty
Did you
accident.
back up enough?
I'm not sure. There we
Okay.
go. Okay, then we peel this. So you can just peel that right off. It's a physical job.
Yeah, there you go.
Slide the knife.
Don't saw.
Don't saw. Lovely. Okay, then we take that, cut a little niche. How are you at knots?
Well, I saw you had a whole technique there. I'm not sure I'm at that. There's.
What, you didn't catch that?
No, I'm not gonna lie. I missed that one. Yeah, completely.
I
Completely.
showed you twice. Little half hitch to hold it. Trim off the excess. There we go.
There we go.
Couple of tomahawks for the counter for later.
So this is mostly about appearance, is what we're doing here. It's not.
You wanna
gonna-
make it pretty.
It's not going to necessarily make it taste better or worse or different anyway.
No,
It's just.
it's a different method of doing a ribeye, basically. It's just a bone-in ribeye
Yeah.
with a long, fancy bone on it.
Awesome.
So if we take the rest of that piece, I
Cut
cut the
it or-
braising ribs off first. So we go just outside the eye, and I put it against the blade, and then I move it up to where I want it here. So those will be braising ribs for Bruce to play with later. Okay, so we bring this back here, and this is the fun part. So the first thing we do is we clean the back of the bones off. We get all that out of there. We peel the chine bone off.
All right.
So that backbone is called chine.
Oh, okay.
You just go right along it. As close to the bones as you can. You can't go right against them because they're curved. So then you get right in there, right along the back. Then you just trim any excess fat off the outside.
Okay. And how much do we want to leave as far as fat along the back?
1/4 to 3/8 of an inch kind of thing. It's funny, but you'll watch guys do this. And that's all they're doing is measuring the fat. They're not massaging the beef like Kobe or anything like that. They're just finding out where the thick parts are. So then you come along and you just trim it and you move your knife. Always different based on how fat it is. So if you feel that, you can feel it's
Yeah, a
thin
little
there
thinner
and
here.
then thicker right there.
Yeah. Different texture as well, the both.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So that's just the thickness of the fat. So you just give that an extra little trim. Okay, so that's all fairly the same. And then you want to peel the cap back.
Again, this is what we did on the Tomahawk, but we're doing it on the whole.
But we're going to do it on here, and we're going to leave it. We're going to tie it back on when we're done, because you want a fat cap on your prime rib roast. It's that.
So why are we taking it off if we're going to tie it back on?
Well, because unlike most places, we take the interior gristle out.
Oh, okay.
Most places don't do that. They just leave it. Think, well, you know, I don't want to do that. So here, you've got this.
Right.
See this silver skin here?
Yeah, we want that off.
We're going to take that off. The trick is to take it out clean. And we take the back strap out. Pretty much the ultimate piece of gristle. Okay, flip that over.
So there's a difference here. We want to get rid of the silver skin, the connective tissue, but we want to leave the fat when we tie it back on. We want
Yes.
the fat for cooking,
Oh, yeah.
but we don't want
Oh,
this
absolutely.
to make it tough.
Yeah. And this is where the interior gristle is right in here.
Okay.
So we have to go get that. So we just slide our knife along between the two muscles.
So you can see why prime rib's pretty expensive. There's a lot of work going into this.
There's a lot of work,
Yeah.
at least the way we do them. So you peel
yeah,
it back,
you can see
peel it
that.
back. So when I start with this whole thing, when I finish the prime rib, it's half the weight.
Really?
So there's 50% waste
Wow.
to get the prime rib. Okay, so trim this extra fat. And then here's the gristle you have to take out. So again, you want to take these out as clean as you can. And we take them all out. You take out those two.
Oh.
You watch what I did. This way and this way.
And then this way?
This way. That hand over there. This hand
This
over
hand
there.
over here?
There you go. You got to put some pressure on it.
And by my cutting
that way,
it?
that way. Now slide the knife along it. There you go.
Ah, I see. There we go. All right.
Look at that.
Ah.
Holy moly. Not bad for an amateur. When that's done, then you go digging for the excess fat, which again, most places do not take out. They leave this chunk. There's always usually a chunk of fat in here.
Yeah.
There's always this piece right here. This is a thick chunk of gristle.
Yeah.
We don't worry about this. That will break down as it cooks. It's thin enough, but this chunk right here will not.
So to answer my question from when I first got here, the difference between dealing with a butcher shop and a non-butcher shop, this is the difference.
This is the difference.
This is the
Okay, so you take all of
put
that,
this all back together.
put it all back together.
And I have a feeling we're going to see your tying skills.
You
put
are
these
going to
one more
see
time.
the knot.
So for the third time,
Okay,
all right.
cross it over.
Okay.
Hold it down. Take that end over there, hook it, and around. Pull it through.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
We'll let you do that part.
And when you get really good at it, you don't even have to put the knife down.
So this is what 42 years of experience will do.
Yeah. All right, one more string, and we have a 5-bone prime rib, wing end.
So that's great how you took out all the, all the stuff you don't want in that roast, put it all back together. Somebody's going to end up with a fantastic prime rib here.
Yep. Yes, they will. So take that, trim that dark end. Watch yourself. Yeah, picking out the big boy. So again, you can see the difference between,
Yeah,
right? And
dry
that.
aged part.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, and then when we're done, it looks like this.
Look at that. Huh. Beautiful. There you go.
So that is a prime rib.
I've never seen that whole process. That's incredible.
Not a lot of people have actually
Yeah,
seen that
yeah,
process.
Yeah, like how
and-
much work goes into it. I know it's expensive to start with, but now you can see why the price
Yeah.
is what it is. You've done a lot of butchering in here, a lot of
Yeah.
getting
and
out the parts you don't want. Well, that's
However-
perfect. I appreciate you taking the time to share that with us.
Oh,
That's
no
awesome.
worries.
Thanks,
My
Chris.
pleasure.
Appreciate it.